I'll be the first to admit that when I try studying scriptures on my phone, I find it difficult. I get distracted easily by notifications, or I think of other things I need to do, and on and on. This is why I switched to an iPad, which I love, but to help a friend out, I decided I would spend a few weeks studying scriptures on my phone to see what tips and tricks I could share to make scripture study amazing on a phone. So here we go, Becky's 7 tips on getting the most out of your scripture study on a smartphone. And for you iPhone users, don't miss the end where I explain how to easily and even automatically turn off all the notifications while you study. Tip number 1, have a plan for how you'll take notes. Will you use a paper notebook? If so, where will you store it so it's easy to get to when you want to study? Will you use the Notes app on your phone? Or will you use the Gospel Library app to keep your notes? This is the one I recommend most if you're using a smartphone. You can easily select text and add a note to it. Let me show you how to add a note in the Gospel Library app. We'll say that you were really touched by what's written here, that there must needs be a power of resurrection. You can just hold down here on what it is you want to make a note about, and then drag this little dot over, and then I can just come up here and click note. And right here, I can go ahead and type my note here. And when I'm done, I can just click done. And now you can see off to the right here, I have a note made on that verse, and that little section on that verse has been highlighted as well. While I'm on the subject of notes, here's tip number 2. You can use your phone to transcribe notes from voice to text. I loved doing this when I studied on my phone. Let me show you what I mean. So let's go ahead and highlight this little sentence right here, fulfill the merciful plan of the great Creator. And click on Note. On an iPhone, I can click on the microphone in the bottom right corner. Then I can talk, and you can see the words that I say are being typed on the screen for me. So I can go ahead and leave a note in my scriptures using my voice. Tip number 3, set a goal. Maybe your goal is to keep up on Come Follow Me, or maybe it's to read all the general conference talks. What is your goal? The Gospel Library app has study plans that can help you set goals. Let me demonstrate that for you. Study plans are awesome here within the app if you like to do that kind of thing. Really quick, in the Come Follow Me section right here, if I click on this 2 Nephi 11 through 19, it'll show you right here. Here's kind of a little bit of a study plan for the Come Follow Me for this week. If you come back here to the home screen and scroll down, you can see there are study plans right here. Here's the Come Follow Me plan I was just talking about right here. I also have a Jesus the Christ study plan that I'm slowly working through. They have a way you can create custom plans, or there's a general conference plan, or several other plans here that you can use to help create a plan of how you're going to study your scriptures. And I have a whole video I created on study plans. I'll link that in the description down below and up above. But even if you don't use study plans to do this, just be sure to set a goal. It really helps. Tip number 4, set your font to an easily readable size. And this one maybe is kind of funny, but my eyes are getting a little older, and so having my font at the correct size really makes a huge difference as I study scriptures on my phone. Let me show you how to adjust the font in the Gospel Library app. I'm going to come up here and click on the 3 dots and click on Display Options, and that pull up this right here. I can go ahead and click here and change the style of the font, or I can click here on the small a to decrease the font, or click on the large A to increase the font. And that really helps in reading your scriptures if you can see it better. Tip number 5, use the Bookmarks feature. It's easy, super easy, to lose your place in the scriptures. So using bookmarks is really a must if you want to improve your scripture study. Let me quickly show you how they work. So if I come down here and click on the bookmarks icon, and I can click on this Book of Mormon personal, and it'll take me to right where it is that I'm reading the Book of Mormon for my personal studies. One thing about bookmarks that will make them even more powerful for you is if you take a moment to rename the ones that you might have particular focus in. So you can see right here, I have a Book of Mormon personal bookmark. a Jesus the Christ bookmark, a Book of Mormon family bookmark, and one for the handbook, and a few others as well. I can come up here and click on Edit, and then click on the name of the bookmark and go ahead and change it to whatever I want. So go ahead and give your bookmarks a name that has meaning to you. Tip number 6 is know how to use screens. Screens are like different windows open in the Gospel Library app. Screens are easy to open and make life easier, but can get confusing if you have lots of them open. Let me show you how to better manage screens. This will definitely help with scripture study on your phone. So the screens show up down here in the bottom right corner. You can go ahead and click on those, and you can see it has different screens open that I have opened here in the app. I tend to have a lot of screens open, and so it gets a little confusing as to where I'm at. So that's why I have also renamed some of my screens. This one is for Personal Book of Mormon study, and this one's for Jesus the Christ, and this is for family study. Having renamed those makes it really easy for me to find where it is I want to read next. So the way I do this then when I'm studying is I'll study here, say I'm studying in 2 Nephi, personal scripture study, and I get done reading, I go to verse 4. What I want to do is I come down here, click on the bookmark, and then I'll refresh that bookmark to put it on 2 Nephi 14. Then I'll open up screens, and now it's time to study Jesus the Christ. So I open my Jesus the Christ screen, and I go ahead and I study there, and then I'll update the bookmark there, and then open up my screens again and go to the next screen that I'm studying. To rename a screen, you just hold down on it and click Rename Screen and go ahead and give it the name you want to. All right, our final tip. Tip number 7 is for iPhone users, and some Android users can do this as well. Avoid distractions by turning off notifications. One of the main concerns in using a phone for scripture study is the distractions it can cause. iPhones have a way to help with this. It's called focus modes. You can turn on a focus mode that will prevent any notifications from coming through. You can even set a focus mode to turn on automatically when you open the Gospel Library app. Here's how this can be done. I am here in the Settings app on my iPhone, and I'm going to come down and go to Focus. You can see here I already have a few focus modes. I'm going to create a new one, though, for scripture study. So I'll click on the plus icon right here and choose Custom. And I'm going to give it a name and call it Scripture Study. And I can give it a color. Maybe I want it to be orange. And I can use that icon right there to show that I'm studying. And then click on Next. This screen right here will tell you a little bit about the focus mode. And then you can come here and click on Customize Focus. And within this, you can go ahead and add people that you might be okay with sending you a message or contacting you when you have this focus mode on. So for example, say I want my husband to be able to message me or phone me when I'm in this focus mode. I can come up here and click on People. And I can make sure that he is the only one checked. And then make sure this says Allow Notifications From. So it'll allow notifications from my husband. And then I'll click Next, and I can choose who I want to receive calls from as well. I'm going to leave it as allowed people only, and then I'll click Done. And then I can come up here and choose any apps that I want to allow notifications from. And I don't want any notifications from any apps, so I'm going to go ahead and uncheck all of these. And then I'll click Done. And you can see it right here. It says None Allowed. So when I'm in this focus mode, when I turn on the scripture study focus mode, I won't receive any app notifications. There are more options here. If you click on options, you can go ahead and go through that. For now, that's sufficient on our scripture study focus mode. And we'll come back here. Now, say I'm ready to do some scripture study. I can come up here in the top right corner and slide down. And you can see right now I'm in Do Not Disturb. I can change this to Scripture Study. And now the Scripture Study focus mode is on. And so now it's set so only my husband can contact me when I'm in this focus mode. So one of the flaws in this focus mode is that you have to remember to turn it on. You can actually set it so that every time you open the Gospel Library app, the Scripture Study focus mode turns on. Let me show you how you can do that. We'll click here on Scripture Study, and we'll come and scroll down here to Smart Activation, and we'll turn that on, and we'll go back, and then we'll click on Add Schedule. And you're not going to do a time or location. You're going to choose an app. So I'll choose app, and then I'm going to search for library. There's library right there. And now it's set so that when I'm using the Gospel Library app, the Scripture Study Focus automatically turns on. Okay, let's go ahead and jump over to the Gospel Library app, and you'll see what pops up here is the Scripture Study Focus has been turned on automatically. Now, if I jump back over to settings, I'll get a notice saying that my other mode I had on before, Do Not Disturb, is on, and Scripture Study mode is now off. So you can see how powerful that can be in helping you to stay focused on your scriptures by not getting all sorts of texts and notifications from your phone when you're studying. After you're done studying, be sure to turn off your focus mode and check your notification center. There are your 7 tips. Now go grab your phone and do some awesome scripture study. If you are ready to really dig in on how to use the Gospel Library app, check out this playlist or check out this video with tips and tricks for the Gospel Library app. And I'd love to read in the comments below how you study your scriptures.